What's the research question again?
Why do we seek validation through false personas on social media?
Okay, so it directly links it to the article because it's talking about validation, which is what the article's talking about. It also taps into the psychological reasons of why we get addicted to social media, or why we get addicted to seeking validation through social media. Because it taps into why do people change themselves and present a false perspective of themselves, but also why do they seek validation of people who have also changed themselves? Why do we seek approval from other people who don't even approve of themselves and put a false perception online? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And also, obviously, if we're putting a false perspective out there, why do we want other people to approve of the false perspective that we've put online
and not actually the true identity that you have? Yeah, because it's like you feel the need to get validation and acceptance from all these people online that you don't even know, and it's like you for one of the things, it's like you can't even accept yourself for who you truly are.
Yeah.
So how are you expecting someone else to accept you for who you truly are, but what you're showing them isn't real? It's not real.
And it's also that question of are you trying to get people? You're trying to get people to like you for the person that you're putting out there, who's not a real person. So then that person who you truly are, that person who really wants acceptance and approval from everyone else, people can't approve of because they're not given the chance to, because the person that you're putting out there is not even who's seeking approval.
And the person that might be accepting your false persona, you might also be accepting their false persona as well.
Exactly.
So it's just
a bunch of real level
it's
of
all fake, yeah.
Exactly. It's like when people use false names online, or pseudonyms, or code names, whatever. That's already the first level of falsehood that you're putting out there. So
because something as personal as a name, you've completely disconnected yourself from that.
You've disidentified from it, and you've dissociated yourself from it.
And
so then from the get-go,
you'll have no association.
From the get-go, you've already changed your identity. So that person who's receiving that first communication with you already thinks they're communicating with someone else.
Yeah.
So how can they
even something as simple as a name?
Exactly. So how can they approve of you when the first instance of you that they're getting is of someone else?
Yeah, because it's like you start off with a false name, and then everything else, because from that that starting point, there's no attachment there. There's no emotional attachment or whatever it is. So it's like whatever you're giving out and whatever you're giving to them and communicating with them, even though it might be really you, it's not because they think, oh, it's all under this person who does this and this and this, but in real life, that's not your name, and you might not even do a lot of the things that they're saying.
And do you know that could be one of the reasons why people are never satisfied with the amount of attention they receive on social media, because the attention that they're receiving is not benefiting who they actually are. It's benefiting the false persona. All that attention is going to the false persona who they've disconnected from.
Would you say that why do people feel the need to say for example make social media accounts, but they feel like, oh, I can't tweet things like this, or I can't post things like this because it might not get as many likes and people not think I'm this type of way, so I have to do this and say this so people will give me the attention that I need. But really it's a deeper issue. It's not just about other people's and what they're seeing, it's about what you're truly comfortable with in yourself. It's why can't you feel comfortable?
Okay, so in psychology, I think I know what you're getting at. In psychology, we call that social desirability. Yeah. And people feel like if they put their true selves out there, they won't be socially desirable. Yeah. So people won't like them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And by concealing certain interests or certain opinions that they have, it's an attempt to make them seem more desirable.
Do you think that because social media is such a it's such a fake place. Like, you know, and when people see, like, certain types of, like, bodies or clothes or materialistic things on there, or, like, people that they think are, like, prettier than them, something like that, but a lot of it may be fake and a lot of it may not be, like, natural or whatever it is. Do you think that people's insecurities are, like, misplaced because of it? Like,
I think it makes them misplaced, but also a bigger issue is that it can it falsifies a lot of it kind of, like, distorts the image that they have in their brain of what they need to look like, or what they should look like, or what they even want to look like.
Yeah.
Because somebody could go through their life and think, do you know what, I only want to lose 2 pounds and I want to tone up my legs, alright? They get on social media, they get on Instagram, and suddenly they want a thigh gap, and they want a tiny waist, and they want big boobs and a big bum. So that's distorted the image of what they actually want to look like, or what they need to look like, because someone might only have wanted to, lose 2 pounds and tone up a little bit, but then when they get on the social media, they completely want to change how they look.
I think because it's such a highly influential place, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And
I think sometimes some people can have a positive influence on people, and some people do utilise social media in the right way.
Yeah, definitely, but would you say that the negatives outweighs the positives?
I think, obviously, on the whole, and also I think you have to look at the demographic as well, because I think, obviously, for young women, it definitely, the negatives outweigh the positives. But then, on the flip side, say, like, for middle-aged people,
they don't really care about that.
They don't care about that, because their generation
you would say that generation of young people, they're very impressionable, and, like, when all they see, especially in the media, are certain types of women or certain types of body types.
Yeah.
And then they're coming on social media and seeing even more of that. And then people are saying, if you look this way, it's not right. Or if you post a picture of yourself, people saying, oh, you have this type of feature, that's not right either. Mm-hmm. So it's like, even online and, like, offline or whatever, there's no acceptance there, because society have already built this view of what you should be and what you should look like.
I think that it depends, because I think that sometimes different sources, depending on what you pay attention to, different sources of like media depict different things.
Yeah.
So it depends what you pay attention to. Now, if you're always watching catwalk models, you're into fashion and all that kind of stuff, you're gonna see the same types of models, really petite, really really long legs, but slim figures, not a lot of curves, like quite a certain type of bone structure in the face and things like that. But then if you hop on Instagram, it's a completely different...
Yeah, definitely.
It's a completely different image that's put out there, and a different level of different standards and different levels of beauty to catwalk modelling. So, like, you'll see, like, the more curvy girls with the bigger boobs, bigger bums, bigger thighs, lipstone, eyelashes, and that's not what you see on catwalk, or it's not what you see in magazines, like in Vogue and high fashion like that. So I think it really depends, like, what kind of media you pay attention to, because a lot of media can give conflicting images on the standards of beauty, I think.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it contributes to the loss of identity, because people don't know where to turn to for what is beautiful. Do you know what I mean? What is the right body shape to have? What is the right facial features to have? How
would you kind of, like, link social media to, like, how it affects you mentally, or, like, whether it gives you, like, not mental illnesses?
I think it can definitely give some mental health issues. I wouldn't say mental illnesses, because I think they're slightly different things.
Yeah.
Mental health issues in obviously anxiety. Can definitely heighten anxiety. It can definitely give low self-esteem and confidence issues.
Yep.
It can give some more serious mental issues, and this is when it can border into mental illness, body dysmorphia, eating disorders.
Do you think that things like that get thrown around too much? Like,
eating disorders.
Yeah, like eating disorders and mental illnesses, they get thrown around way too much.
I think also, like, I think it comes with I think it comes with, it's a byproduct of being a slightly more tolerant society when it comes to mental illness.
Yeah.
Because it's more openly talked about and more widely accepted. I feel like sometimes people
kind of
take
use
that as
it
an issue, as a ticket to throw them kind of words
Yeah,
around.
it's
and
like,
kind
oh,
of labels around.
Like, especially, like, bipolar and depression, and it's like, there's serious things, like, just because, you know.
I think it definitely comes with, like, it's something that comes with any socially progressive, like, issue. Like, how many times do we sit here and go, oh my god, that's so gay? Do you know what I mean? When obviously we don't actually mean that it's gay.
Yeah.
But it's something that now it's more widely talked about and widely accepted. Obviously not as much as it should be, but in some parts of the world it is. So then it kind of comes with the territory. I'm not saying that's right, but I'm saying that's what happens. Now that mental illness and things like that. Like, how often do you speak to a friend and they go, oh my god, I'm so depressed? Obviously, not clinically depressed.
It's become such a normalized vocabulary. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, oh, I'm just feeling a bit, like, depressed today.
Oh, that gives me so much anxiety. But does it actually,
and it's like, oh, do you know what, I was feeling really angry before, but now I'm alright. And it's just like, oh, bipolar.
Exactly. Like, it's just one of them things, like, it's not right, but it does happen. And obviously,
do you think that people are wrong for doing that, even though, like, even if you do it yourself?
I think they are. Obviously, I do myself, and it's kind of one of them it's become one of them colloquial things. It's kind of like informal, like when you start with your friends laughing and joking, or, you know, 1 minute you're angry and then you let it go. I'm like, oh my god, so bipolar. Do you know what I mean? It's one of the things that's kind of, people say it in a tongue-in-cheek way, but obviously the deeper, like, repercussions of just throwing them labels around there are offensive and damaging to people that actually suffer with those struggles, if that makes sense. So I think I think that's definitely...
Do you think so? Then would you say that it's acceptable to say if it's not in a malicious intent?
No, I don't. I don't think it's okay to say things like that. Just off the cuff like that.
Yeah.
Even though I do say it myself, obviously that's because it's become so normalised, and I don't have like any like malice when I say it. That it's not in a malicious way, but it is something that's so normalised that you don't even think about it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like saying the N-word if you're black. It's literally part of your vocabulary. Or calling one of your friends the B-word. That's not misogynist in any way, or sexist, but it's just one of the things
the
like...
The B-word?
Bitch.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because people do that. Like, girls say,
bitch,
"Oh, exactly." It's become so normalised that, like, you wouldn't even think twice about what you're saying anymore.
Exactly. So it's just...
But would you say that as, like, society progresses, or has progressed, like, it's become a very sensitive society? Like, people get offended by something. Like,
people
and
will always get offended by something. Now, I was reading, I think it was either a Twitter post or something like that, and someone had said that a bunch of millennials watch White Chicks and say it's so offensive. Now, White Chicks, back in the day when it came out in the 2000s, was a hilarious movie. It was
definitely.
a chick flick. It's kind of a black comedy, like things that are funny that shouldn't be, and it's kind of like that. But now everyone finds a way to link it to a social issue.
Yeah.
So, you know, they'll find a way to link it to, oh my god, that's so offensive to black people. Oh my god, that's so offensive to white people. Oh my god, that's so offensive to old ladies. Oh my god, that's so offensive to
people
rabbits. Like, honestly, they'll literally find a way to be offended about anything these days. And don't get me wrong, there is certain things that you should be offended by, but that's not to say that everything is offensive. And also,
do you think that, like, sometimes you just have to let it go? Like, you just have to
don't get me wrong, if someone said something in a horrible way and it was clear that they was being offensive, then no, don't let that go if it's really truly deeply offended you. But don't, like, if you know,
don't overthink it.
Yeah, if you know that someone, like, if you know that someone has said something in a joking way and you're genuinely not offended by it, then why would you hold on to that? Also, if you, this is what I don't get as well. A lot of people now, in an effort to be more socially conscious, will be offended on other people's behalf.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't understand. Like, the Wayne brothers in White Chicks, right? They probably say nigger probably a couple of times in the... White millennials, don't be offended by that. We think that's funny.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's an issue when certain people say it and in a certain context. But if we're not offended by something, you should not be offended by it on our behalf.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And you shouldn't apologise on other people's behalf. Like, do you know how
like
that Kim Kardashian thing when she apologised
on behalf of Jeffree Star? Now that's a different issue, because that is someone apologising for something that someone has done to directly cause offence. So that's something else. But
what do you mean?
Like, obviously Jeffree Star said those racist things to cause offence to black women.
Oh, right.
And she was apologising on his behalf. So that's not the same as the Wayne brothers saying nigger in a hilarious
But why would
film.
she apologise on his behalf? Because...
Yeah, it doesn't matter if she apologise. Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. It didn't matter if she apologised on his behalf at all. She shouldn't have done it. But also, it's a different circumstance because what he said was in a serious context.
But it was more humour and satire.
Yeah, but but it's not the same because he's been at the expense of other people.
No, I mean the Wayne brothers.
Oh, right, yeah, like, it's not really satire, it's more like, it's just really for comedic value.
Yeah.
And obviously people don't have to apologise to black people for two black people saying the N-word, because it's something that we find hilarious and it's acceptable to us for them to say that. Now, Jeffree Star, on the other hand, it's not acceptable for you to talk to women of colour the way that he has done repeatedly. So then for someone to apologise on his behalf when he's not apologised himself and he's clearly not sorry for it, that's okay, that doesn't make any sense. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's a different issue.
Yeah. Thanks for the 17